Hello, my name's Dan Tyndall. I'm the vicar of St Mary Redcliffe Church in Bristol, and I've got the privilege of reading tonight's bedtime story, if my friends here will let me get a word in edgewise. Tonight's story is about Daniel and the lions. Daniel came to Babylon with 3 other people called Shadrach, Meshach and Abednego, and although there were kings that came and went, all the kings liked these men because they were honest and they were hard-working. They were always given the most important jobs, which made the other workers in the king's palaces a little bit jealous. This time the king's name was Darius, and King Darius also liked Daniel. He knew that Daniel was a good worker, so he decided to put Daniel in charge of the whole country. The other servants of the king were very jealous of Daniel, and they tried to find something that would get Daniel into trouble. They were trying to get him fired. But Daniel obeyed God, so they couldn't find anything. Finally, these men said to each other, "We can't find any reason for the king to fire Daniel. The only way we could get him to disobey the king is if we made a law against Daniel's God." So they went to King Darius and said, "Oh, great king, you are so wonderful that no one should pray to anyone but you." And the king said, "Well, that sounds like a great idea." So the men continued, "All of your workers have agreed that this should be done, and that anyone who prays to any other god should be thrown into the lion's den." The workers had lied and said that everyone who worked for the king agreed, but of course they hadn't talked to Daniel because they knew he wouldn't agree. The king didn't know this, so he made the law, and it was the kind of law that just could not be changed. When Daniel heard about the new law, he did what he always did. He went into a room upstairs and opened the windows that looked out over the city, and 3 times that day he went down on his knees and he prayed to God just like he always had. These men went as a group to Daniel's house, and they found him praying and asking God for help. So they ran straight to the king and told him, "Your worker Daniel is ignoring your command. We've seen him praying to his God 3 times today." When the king heard this, he was very sad. He really liked Daniel, and he didn't want him to die. He tried everything to get the law changed to stop Daniel from being thrown into the lion's den. But the men came to him and reminded him that the law could not be changed and Daniel would have to be punished. So at the end of the day, the king gave the order, and they brought Daniel and threw him into the lion's den. The king said to Daniel, "I hope your God, who you serve and pray to, will rescue you." A large heavy stone was rolled in front of the den, and the king went back to his palace with tears in his eyes. And that night King Darius couldn't eat or sleep. He was so worried about Daniel. The next day, as soon as the sun came up, the king got up and ran to the lion's den. And as soon as he got close, he shouted, "Daniel, has your God, who you serve and pray to, rescued you from the lions?" The king waited quietly for a response. What do you reckon? Then, all of a sudden, Daniel said, "O king, live forever. My God sent an angel, and he shut the mouths of the lions. They haven't hurt me because I've done nothing wrong." The king jumped with joy and immediately ordered that Daniel be removed from the den. And when Daniel was lifted from the den, there wasn't even a scratch on him because he trusted in God. The king knew that the men had tricked him into punishing Daniel, so he punished them. After that, the king made a new law, and he said, "Daniel's God is great, and I order everyone that in my kingdom must respect the Lord God, who rescued Daniel from those hungry lions." I hope you've enjoyed tonight's Bible bedtime story, and I hope you get a good night's sleep. Bye-bye.